When my wife brought up making our marriage open, I had zero doubt left. She had been seeing someone else for a while now. It happened on a Sunday morning, March 10th. As she talked to me, she could not even look me in the eye. Instead, she told me this story about her friend Amanda and her amazing marriage, which had supposedly blossomed after the couple decided to open things up. 3 weeks before this conversation, she had started taking her phone with her to the bathroom every single time, even when she had get up at 2 a.m. just to use the toilet. Yeah, that looked more than a little suspicious. You do not need your phone for that. I was not born yesterday. Those Monday night, professional networking events, that used to wrap up around 8 p.m. were now somehow stretching past midnight. Her explanation was simple. The residential real estate market had gotten brutal, and now she had to constantly attend mixers with fellow agents and potential investors. Here's the thing, though. I checked our local Realtor Association's website. They only host one evening mixer per month. Meanwhile, my wife was disappearing every single Monday without fail. Pilates classes showed up on her schedule in February, 3 times a week. According to her, she had bought a whole new workout wardrobe at Lululemon and dropped about $800 just for working out. This same woman who had always complained when she had to pay $40 for a sports bra suddenly needed brand name gear that cost more than my cell phone. I told her I had need some time to think about this whole open marriage thing. But the very next morning, I drove over to that same Pilates studio where she claimed she had been taking classes 3 times a week. The woman at the front desk was friendly enough, but she explained she could not give out any information due to their privacy policy. So I had hit a dead end. I sat in my car in the parking lot for a few minutes, just staring at nothing. 3 decades together, our 2 kids, a house we had almost paid off. And suddenly, she wants an open marriage and she's diving into the fitness world like she's possessed. The cash withdrawals from our bank account were way too high. Our budget was modest, but we had always managed. Her explanation: she was buying lunches for her clients, investing in relationships to land bigger commissions. But $200 for one client lunch twice a week, even in this city, that's excessive. I knew this for sure because I had been doing her tax returns for 3 decades. A coworker of mine went through something very similar last year. He gave me his lawyer's contact info. The lawyer's first piece of advice was, document absolutely everything before you make any moves. So I started documenting. The mileage on her car was going up by about 800 miles a month, starting in January. Her office is 12 miles from our house. Even accounting for all the property showings, the numbers did not add up. A charge appeared on the bank statement from some specialty wine boutique. One bottle for $60. We had always, without exception, bought our wine for $15 at Trader Joe's. Always. Then I found new lingerie in her gym bag, with the price tags still on. $240 for a set I had never seen her wear. The following Monday, I hired a private investigator. I was not about to follow her around myself trying to figure out where she was going and who she was with. I told my wife I was seriously considering her open marriage idea and that I had need a few weeks to process everything. Relief washed over her face. At the same time, I wrote a check for $7,000 to a former police officer. Every dollar turned out to be money well spent. That Monday evening, he started tailing her. She drove right past the hotel where the Realtor Association actually holds their monthly mixer. Then she headed north, about 40 minutes, to these upscale oceanfront condos where 1-bedroom units start at $500,000. Her car disappeared into the underground parking garage. The detective stayed in position with his camera. She did not come out for 3 hours. When she finally emerged, he got photos. Let me put it this way. When she came out, she was wearing a completely different outfit. The detective established that she was regularly spending time with one specific person, a new agent who had shown up about 8 months ago. His specialty, commercial real estate. Black Escalade. Status, divorced. No kids. Living in those very same oceanfront condos. My wife had started her networking delays exactly 8 months ago. But the worst betrayal turned out to be the money. About $10,000 had been siphoned off over 7 months, small amounts marked personal expenses. I had never checked these transactions before. I had trusted her. While she was building an escape fund, I was gathering evidence for something far more effective. She thought she was creating a financial safety cushion. I was building a court case that would leave her with absolutely nothing. She wanted an open marriage so she could retroactively legitimize her cheating, like I was some idiot who had give her official permission for what she was already doing. That contempt hurt worse than the infidelity itself. But I kept quiet. I let her think I was considering her proposal while I methodically prepared. The lawyer told me, with evidence like this plus the hidden financial transactions, I could completely destroy her position in court. The house had been mine before we got married, inherited from my father. I had never once put her name on the deed. Her retirement savings and possibly her 401k, all at risk. Those $10,000 she had taken would turn out to be pocket change compared to what I could get from her. She felt incredibly clever. She had no idea what was coming for her. The next 2 weeks became the greatest acting performance of my life. Every morning I said goodbye to her as if absolutely nothing had changed. I stopped all physical contact and kisses. It was destroying me inside, but I could not do it anymore. Every evening I had asked about her day. She had fed me fiction about difficult property showings and problem clients. Meanwhile, the detective was documenting everything. Turns out Mondays were not her only visits to those upscale condos. Wednesdays, lunch dates. Fridays, afternoon sessions. Sometimes even Saturday mornings when she was supposedly conducting property showings. The detective got creative with the assignment. He rented a unit in that same building for a week, using a fake name. Holy hell. Those $7,000 were starting to look like the smartest investment I had ever made. He figured out that on Wednesdays and Fridays, she had leave her car in the visitor parking lot instead of the underground garage. One Tuesday, the detective followed them to a jewelry store. She tried on a tennis bracelet worth $3,000. He bought it for her right there on the spot. My wife was wearing jewelry from another man while still wearing her wedding ring. The audacity was stunning. That same evening, she came home and started talking about how we could explore new possibilities together. I smiled, poured a glass of wine, and said maybe she had a point. Inside, I was calculating how much that bracelet was going to cost her in divorce court. The lawyer gave me a list of financial documentation I needed to collect. I already had most of it, but I needed the latest payment records. She kept those in her home office, which she had recently started locking, another red flag I had initially ignored. But locks are not an obstacle when you've been married for 3 decades and know all the places someone hides spare keys. One Wednesday morning when she left for an early showing, I found the key taped under a desk drawer. In the filing cabinet, I found way more than just payment records. She had been researching the process of transferring her realtor license to another state. There was a detailed spreadsheet calculating how much money she had need to start fresh. Guess where those funds were supposed to come from? I photographed everything and sent it to the lawyer. He called me within the hour. She had wanted an open marriage to cover her tracks. Instead, she had given me time to build an ironclad legal case. Every day she thought I was mulling over her request. I was hammering another nail into the coffin of her future. That same week, the detective uncovered another detail. Her lover was not actually divorced. He was separated, but still legally married. His wife was living 2 states away with their kids. The investigation revealed bankruptcy 3 years ago, 2 failed business ventures, the expensive condo, rented under someone else's name, the Escalade, leased. My wife was planning to leave me for a broke con artist who was also legally married. She had thrown away 30 years of our life together for a man who could not even be honest about having his own kids. Friday evening, she showed me the bracelet and claimed she had bought it herself, as a gift to myself. Supposedly with cash from commissions she had been setting aside. I noted how beautifully it caught the light and said she really deserved nice things. She even teared up, saying I had been so thoughtful lately. If only she knew what I actually understood. The meeting with the lawyer was scheduled for the following Tuesday. We had to file all the paperwork and freeze the bank accounts before she could pull the money out. She was planning to drain our joint checking account. Her little dream about mountain views in Colorado was about to turn into a nightmare she never saw coming. But before all that, I had one more card to play. A card that needed to be played just right. I am talking about her lover's wife. Yeah, that woman living 2 states away with the kids he supposedly did not have. My detective tracked her down through the marriage certificate. Her name was Jessica. She worked as a pediatric therapist and had been financially supporting the family for years while he chased his get-rich-quick schemes. I called her on a Saturday morning. Our conversation lasted 2 hours. She had absolutely no idea about her husband's infidelity. She thought he was temporarily living with his brother and getting back on his feet after another business failure. She had been regularly sending him money for rent, $500 a month to help cover expenses for the apartment he shared with his brother. The same apartment he was actually using with my wife. Jessica was devastated but also grateful. She had been considering reconciliation, believing his promises about changing. Now she knew the real situation. We compared our notes like detectives working the same case. The dates lined up perfectly. Jessica agreed to help me. She had access to his emails since she was still paying his phone bill. The password had stayed the same for years. What we found was an absolute goldmine. He was not just cheating with my wife. There were 3 other women, all realtors or working in related fields. All married. He had told all of them identical stories about starting fresh together. This guy was running a literal rotation. My wife was the Monday to Wednesday Friday woman. Another agent from a competing firm got Tuesdays and Thursdays. He split Wednesdays between 2 other women. He had a spreadsheet, an actual Excel spreadsheet documenting his affairs, color-coded by day of the week. Notes about which lies he had told to whom. My wife was listed as Diana, Ari, marital problems. $signs apparently indicated financial prospects. We screenshot everything. Jessica did too. We had enough evidence to destroy them both. Sunday evening, my wife brought up the open marriage thing again. She said she had been patient, but she needed a clear answer. Enough is enough, she said. She wanted her husband to agree to open their relationship so she could sleep with someone else without any obstacles. In my view, an open marriage is just legalized permission to cheat. She reminded me again that Amanda's marriage was flourishing. Said they were so much happier and more fulfilled now. I told her I had made my decision. Said I had announced it Monday evening over dinner. She was absolutely glowing with anticipation. She had no idea Jessica was already driving in from 2 states away. She did not know I had arranged with my lawyer to file all the paperwork at exactly 3 p.m. She did not know her lover's wife would be waiting for her at those upscale oceanfront condos when she showed up for her lunch date. The private investigator was perfectly positioned to capture everything. Jessica confronted them right in the building's lobby. According to the detective's photos, my wife's expression went from complete confusion to horror to absolute fury in about 10 seconds. Her lover tried to deny everything, claiming Jessica was mentally unstable and just stalking her ex-husband. That's when Jessica pulled out her phone, showed my wife the messages with the other women, the spreadsheet, all the proof that she was just one of 4. According to the detective, my wife threw that same tennis bracelet at him and ran out of the building. She drove straight home, probably hoping to find me there, ready to confess and beg for forgiveness. But I was not home. I was in my lawyer's office signing the necessary paperwork when she pulled up to our street. Her access to the joint bank accounts had already been completely frozen. The locks on our house had already been changed. Her key did not work anymore. All her personal belongings were neatly packed in cardboard boxes on the front lawn. Organized, professional, with labeled tags. I had hired a professional moving service to do it properly. While her world was falling apart at those condos, I was methodically getting everything ready. She called me 20 times over the next hour. The voicemails shifted from angry screaming to fake remorse to outright threats and back to pathetic begging. I never once picked up. My lawyer advised complete radio silence. Let the documents speak for themselves. The next morning she received them, along with printed copies of the evidence. The detective's photos, the spreadsheet where she was just another entry. Her dream of an open marriage had definitely opened something. Doors she could never close again. She had wanted official permission to cheat openly. Instead, she got exposed as one of 4 women being manipulated by a broke con artist, and simultaneously lost access to the home she had considered hers for nearly 3 decades. I was inside the house, watching a movie and drinking a beer. The next morning, she was officially served at work. A process server walked right up to her desk at 9 a.m. and loudly announced her full name before officially serving her with divorce papers. Her colleagues tried to pretend they did not notice. But from what I heard, the whole office was buzzing about it within minutes. She filed a counterclaim, demanding everything: alimony, spousal support, and full custody. But it turned out that in their state, marital infidelity still matters in custody cases. By Wednesday, she had hired herself a lawyer. Some cheap specialist, who promised to fight aggressively for her interests. He lasted exactly one meeting with my legal team. After reviewing the evidence and the financial betrayal, he advised her to accept whatever settlement I was willing to offer. The settlement was pretty straightforward. The house, nothing, since it was never in her name. She keeps the car with 18 months of payments remaining. Personal items, already packed and ready. Her beat-up Cadillac, all hers. But her retirement savings, as marital property accumulated during the marriage, half belongs to me. Of those $10,000 she had illegally taken, she had to return half, since it was recognized as theft of joint marital assets. She signed all the documents without a single objection. What choice did she have? Friday after lunch, Jessica called me. Her husband had been evicted from the oceanfront condo. Turns out he owed 3 months back rent, and the money she had been regularly sending him was being spent on something else. Most likely on that tennis bracelet. The other women from his rotation list were also tracked down and notified. 2 of them filed for divorce within a month. The third convinced her husband to try marriage counseling. My wife's lover eventually moved back in with his mother. My wife called me one more time, 2 weeks after all of this went down. Left a voicemail saying she had made a terrible mistake, that 30 years had to mean something, that we could work through this together. That maybe an open marriage could still work if we both agreed to it. Her level of detachment from reality was stunning. I played it for my lawyer. We both laughed. 3 months later, I sold our house. Got even more than the asking price, even in this tough market. My ex-wife was forced to move in with her friend. Wonder how long that living arrangement will last. She's 55 years old. Starting from absolute zero, with debts and a ruined professional reputation. Last I heard about her, she had gotten a job at another real estate company. She wanted an open marriage. She got an open door. Right out of my life. Our marriage ended because of a request. Her request, to retroactively legitimize infidelity. My request was much simpler, to get everything the law allows. I earned it after 30 years of absolute loyalty while she threw it all away for a broke con artist with an Excel spreadsheet. The judge agreed with my position. Sometimes I think about those 30 years, about all the good times, before she decided I was not good enough. And then I remember that Monday morning when she asked for an open marriage while secretly already being in one. The lack of respect, the carefully planned lies, the audacity to think I was too stupid to figure it out. I am 61 now. I retired early, thanks to the court settlement in my favor. Dating a woman my age who values monogamous relationships. Living my best life while my ex-wife pays for her choices. Well, I guess that's what they call modern relationships these days. From what I've personally observed, they absolutely do not work in the long term.